Welcome everyone to another Wicked interview. We're back. It's been a while, but we're back with a really great one tonight. We're joined by a creator that we've had on before, but tonight's gonna be really interesting because we're gonna be talking to her about her art in a whole new way. And so today we are gonna be spotlighting Nana Hoshiko, and we have on Kazuto as well. Welcome to the both of you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
What
You're
up,
welcome.
bitches?
That's certainly one way to make an entrance.
Yeah, sorry. Hi,
Well, yes, we
everyone.
appreciate you guys taking time to speak with us tonight and to learn a little more about what you guys have been doing lately. So we really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thanks for having us on.
You're
Good
welcome.
evening, everyone.
Yes, and thank you. And for those who don't know, why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do?
You first, Kaz.
Wait, why am I first?
You first.
Oh, because you're nervous, aren't you?
Always.
I'm, I'm Kazuto. I'm an indie manga creator slash editor slash person who likes to make things go boom on the page. I've been doing this for quite a number of years, almost going up there like 4 years, 5 years, Nana. Doing editing work with Nana over here, and yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Dead Con's out there, my first project, and been working with Nana ever since on projects like Star Ring and especially Sweven.
Yeah. I feel like we've definitely done that a lot longer.
Oh yeah,
No.
definitely. Well, wow, I feel
That's
old
awesome.
already. Arthritis kicking in.
So I'm Nana. Um, and I've been creating comics and graphic novels for about the same amount of time, 4 or 5 years. Um, my first ever comic project was here at Wikid, which was starring. And then I decided that I want to still do starring, but I want to do another genre that I feel like is way better suited for my writing style now. Um, and I've really enjoyed creating comics. I love creating comics.
That's awesome. Well, you're in good
Yeah.
company then, because I think we all feel the same way. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah,
And
love it.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you both so much, and I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about the work that you've been putting into Sweven. And is am I pronouncing that correct?
We thought it used to be Sweven too, but it actually is Sweven, which
Oh,
I
Sweven. Okay.
love. I I love that, and I'll tell you why later.
Okay, perfect. Well, yeah. So yeah, so Evan's interesting one. As you mentioned, you also did Star Ring, which is kind of the fantasy genre. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what it's been like to switch genres and do something that is a little bit closer to what you're comfortable with or to your strengths, as you said.
Um, I felt like when I was in the middle of writing, starring, that I just didn't feel like it wasn't that I didn't feel fulfilled. I feel like that's a terrible choice of words, but like because I had a lot of moments of fulfillment, but I just kept wanting to talk more about um, real life topics, but spin it in a fictional way as well. And
Interesting.
I watched a very popular movie called Your Name,
Ah,
and I was
interesting. Yeah,
very inspired
that's
by Your
cool.
Name, heavily,
That's
heavily
awesome.
inspired. Um, and I'm a huge fan of anything Makoto Shinkai.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
anything.
got a very unique style and very
hmm
strong storytelling for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I just also have like a very strong connection to um, my own personal feelings, and I feel like the mixtures of all of that made me want to change genres because I just felt like when I was writing starring, I was following fantasy rules, which is fine. Like I
Hmm.
enjoy writing fantasy for that reason. And some people would disagree, like, oh, there's no rules to it, which is fine. But like for me, there was like a lot to want to get done in a fantasy. but I feel like this is more focused on characters, which is where my strengths are. Sweven is very character focused. It does have a lot of background themes and tones, but it's just incredibly character focused, in comparison to starring, which is like more world building and so many more rules than Sweven has. I feel like Sweven's a little easier to write for me. There's a lot of
Okay,
reasons.
that's pretty cool. I like that you switched it up because you're right with the fantasy setting. It doesn't really lend for those kind of stories that you're wanting to tell.
Yeah,
Not in
exactly.
the not in the
Exactly.
strictest sense. So that's cool. And we'll but the way and we'll get into this, I'm sure, in a little bit, and we'll share some of the art as well. But you not
Mhm.
only decided to take a new step with your writing, but you also decided to take on the role as an artist.
Yes.
And so that's been
Wow.
something new for you as well.
It has been a very rewarding experience. If I could say it any louder, is like I would convince every comic writer, author, whatever you want to call yourself, to really try to learn digital art. And like I've said to everybody, if I can do it, you can do
Hmm.
it.
She's also told that to me too, and I
Yeah.
tried it for 2 minutes. I sucked.
Well, I imagine it takes a lot of patience and perseverance. Is that right, Nana?
Yeah. It definitely took a lot of patience. Basically, did you ask me a question, Mike? I'm so sorry.
Well, I was just saying, yeah, just commenting on how I imagine it takes a lot of patience.
Oh, yeah.
Is all, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it does. It requires a lot of patience, and picking, like, I say digital art because I didn't really feel like I had the time to put into traditional art,
hmm,
really.
interesting. Yeah.
So I chose digital, and I chose Clip Studio Paint. So I like to emphasize, like, I'm not a traditional artist. I'm not a I don't even have any experience really. I can draw on paper a lot easier now since learning digital art too.
So there are some transferable skills. Then it sounds like.
It you get the swing of it by hand, like, I can't even explain it. It's wild because I'm still learning so
And
much.
so, what's your techniques? Are you working with some sort of a tablet setup or anything like that?
Yeah, so my equipment, I use, a lot of digital artists probably use this too. Just your traditional second generation Apple Pencil and a iPad Pro.
Okay, so that's a kind of an interesting combination. Was that a difficult transition that you had to make going through that?
Um, yes, because originally I started on an iPad Air with the same pencil. I'm still using the same uh digital pen that I've used since the beginning. But my art quality increased by switching equipment.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
don't
can
know.
understand that feeling because I
Yeah.
have an iPad Air and somewhat, let's say, not an official Apple Pencil, but it's a digital pen.
Right.
So I know that feeling. I know it because I've even just brought my pen with me somewhere one time when I was looking at new phones for my fiance and me. And I was just testing out the pen on one of their iPads that are really nice. And I was like, I wish I could afford this, but no.
Yeah, I can't explain. A lot of the things in illustration so far, I've learned either, to be brutally honest, by accident through my courses, or I just figured it out. Like the
Self-taught in
yeah,
a sense.
like,
Yeah.
I'm a mixture. I'm a
Mm,
mixture.
mm-hmm.
I definitely did see a lot of improvement in my art after I did courses.
Okay. Well, that's really awesome.
Yeah,
And
for
so, how
sure.
have you applied kind of this new artistic skill? How have you then gone and tried to apply it to your comic Sweven? Seven,
So
seven, sorry.
I went into no, it's okay. I went into illustrating the comic with Sweven in mind heavily,
because
with my first production with Sweven, was very, I felt like really was good when I was just writing it. The first for the pilot. And then when we came into the second production was when I started noticing a lot of I don't want to say creative failures, but more like creative lessons throughout that journey there. And I really had to kind of take a step back for a while and not think that I can go in and just continuously write episode after episode and always I tried hiring other artists, and I feel like this was it was going exactly the way that it was supposed to go. Like I really feel deep down that I was meant to illustrate my own graphic novel at the end of the day. I really feel like that's what I just kept getting pushed towards, and it was always something in the back of my mind since I started writing graphic novels. When I first started doing it, I always was told, "Why don't you just do it? Why don't you just do it? Why not? Try, figure it out." But this was also before digital art really took an amazing, how to say, it wasn't as used
Yeah.
then
There's
as
so
it
many
is
tools
now.
now, right? It's so accessible to
It
everyone.
is so amazing.
Well, yeah, that's really interesting. Do you think one day you may apply that to other comics as well, even, things like Star Ring?
Oh, yeah. I definitely am always going to illustrate every comic that I
Oh,
do
that's wonderful.
from
Yeah.
this point forward.
I love that
Um,
you've gone all in and said, I'm gonna, invest in myself and my own art. I think that's really cool.
I just like I always and this is no shade towards anyone, but I just didn't care about crowdfunding. I just felt like it
I
was a
can
job
understand.
within it was like, yeah, it's like a job within itself to
Totally.
and again, no shade to the people that have done it and have been successful. Like that is just amazing. Like that is fantastic. I didn't have confidence in myself enough to try. That and again, it was just like a job within itself too. Um, and secondly, I every production I was pivoting and it wasn't because of the other artists, of course. Their time and dedication into my graphic novels is still appreciated so very much. And I learned a lot from them. Like honestly, keeping my master files was brilliant. Um, and of course, I only ever used it for eye reference. But basically, all of the designs that were, designed back then were done by the artists, but I had written them out. So a lot of the themes and stuff it was already easy to apply because I had that in mind. And I went into it with Sweven in mind. So like everything, my artistic style, I feel like is even kind of more reflected off of my graphic novel than it is anything
Then,
else.
then what's come before?
Yeah, and it's gonna
That's
change
kind of
as we
very
go.
understandable.
Yeah,
In a way, it influenced you, so you kind of, I wouldn't say pay homage by doing it. You have been truly influenced by it.
exactly. Yeah, because and I've realized that it's a lot easier on me financially. It's a lot easier to get it done. I feel like I can do it a lot faster doing it myself. Even
You're
it,
more reliable. You can try. You're never gonna have to worry
yes,
about any kind of thing that might go wrong.
exactly. I don't have to worry. Oh, and again, and I'm so sorry that this happened to anyone. And I've been, like I said, in my second Sweven production, I pivoted. I had a moment of like, it was like doof 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 crash, and that's when I was just like, yes, this is it. I'm doing it final answer, no questions asked. And I just got the money together and I didn't get the best equipment at first to learn, and I didn't go into it drawing Sweven characters right away.
Interesting.
I
You
went
kinda
I
looked
went
into it.
into I didn't wanna, like, get disappointed and go
Okay.
into it with, like, high hopes at first in myself because, it was challenging. I mean, honestly, just learning the program first was the hardest part.
Right. Well, taking that first step is kind of scary. I think that's what a lot of people prevents a lot of people from trying to do their own art is they're worried, that's why it takes so much patience. You get worried about, oh, will it be what I want, right? And if it's not immediately what you want, a lot of times it's easier just to quit. But if you stick
Yeah,
it out, you can really do some amazing things.
exactly.
And so yeah, that's really really amazing, and it's going to be really cool to see how your art makes Sweven more unique than it could have been, with someone else's art. So I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, and I feel like I have so much more creative control, which is something that
Hmm.
I always wanted.
That's
Was
cool.
that real grasp on that creative control.
That's excellent. And speaking of which, Kazuto also is a big part of Sweven. What has it been like for you, for working on this comic?
I mean, if I could put it this way, it's been as fun as it was to work on Sweven as it was working with Nana on the original Star Ring series.
Mm,
It was pretty. It wasn't uncharted territory for me because I mean, to be honest, it's I still felt comfortable in the realm of what she wanted to do, and it just I guess it just kind of it didn't grow on me. It just like instantly just kind of latched on to me of working on this project with her, especially with how working on dialogue and characters. It's always just a fun experience to do so,
oh, that's
and
cool. Yeah.
it's just I don't know what it is with me. It's like no matter what I sit down and work on, especially with Nana, it's just easy to grow into, and it just becomes an enjoyable experience, really enjoyable, especially during the first iteration of Starring, and now going into this one. It's just there's just something about just sitting down and imagining the characters that she created and really just getting down to the meat and potatoes of things like
Mm,
dialogue and character and pacing. And
mhm.
it just it especially just gets me really excited going back into this because of that alone, so
Yeah.
it's for me as an editor, um just sitting down and looking at the material that we used to do and looking forward ahead to the new material. It's just I think it's just it's perfect. It just feels perfect, and that's how it's been. For me to work with Nana on this, especially as an editor, just it just feels perfect.
Well, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, it sounds like you guys are a really, really good team together.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely one thing that hasn't changed, and
Mhm.
he's adapting very well to me as the artist too. But that I feel like that because he was starting to kind of edit the art in the second production when we were doing it, the other way.
Oh,
And
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like we learned so much from that falling point that I feel like going into it this year again, because we haven't done anything since I started to learn how to illustrate.
Mhm.
I had to make the decision that I
Mm.
had to put down and
Put down
Michael,
the
you
writing pen
you
and pick up the artist pen.
you know how much I used to write.
Oh my god, yeah.
So it's like so it's like I had to make a decision. I had to pick, and I felt like had enough knowledge in writing to kind of take a step back for a while and
Mm.
focus more on the illustration side of things. And that's what all I have done. the past year.
Wow.
Now,
So are
every
you gearing
day.
up, and at some point I imagine you'll be gearing up to move back into that writer's, chair.
Yes, Monday. Actually,
Really? Oh
we
wow.
start the comic on Monday
Wow,
officially.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very
And it's
exciting.
still the pilot. We call it now the pilot, which we're gonna edit, of course, like on the website where it is published. It is published through INKR, still, and we are still available on there for the next year and a half, give or take. Um, and we're gonna keep up the original one, and we're gonna call it the pilot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's not gonna be a part of the series anymore.
Oh,
Um,
okay, okay.
but we have so we have good reading following on there right now.
Mhm.
And I could tell you eh, the what the pilot is kind of sitting at right now once it
By the
loads.
way, at any time we can definitely share some art up on the screen here if you wanted to show the audience at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, I was wondering how you screen shared. I was actually gonna draw. But I can show the artwork
Yeah,
too.
you can do it. Yeah, whatever. If you can show artwork, you can show off your drawings. You just need to. All you have to do is go to present,
Oh,
and then
really?
you can. Yeah, and then
Where's
you
present?
should be in the bottom. You guys see that on your end, either of you?
No,
No,
I don't think guests really
No,
have the ability to do that unless
no,
they
it should. That's not
share
true.
their
It'll.
camera.
No, that's not true because you can do it and it'll pop up on my my thing, and then I can just click on it to make it become the focus. I've done it with other people, so no, it's
Huh.
Okay.
possible.
I just have not done it because I'm always on the phone. So
I'll check
that's
it. I'll see if I
probably
can figure
why.
it out.
Okay, I'm on my iPad, because obviously I'll be showing some art here.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was saying, so right now, oh,
Two Wickeds. Camera guy.
camera guy.
The camera guy.
Camera
You
guy
follow
is
me,
okay.
camera guy, because it's about to get serious.
Let's see here. So, yeah, I think you're right. It might be just because it might be a computer thing only.
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's probably the issue. Sorry about that, but yeah, we can definitely show off some art.
Yeah, you can just
You want me to put one up right now?
yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start with the
Yay.
one you sent me.
I love that one. I actually updated that. That's an older art piece that I specialize just for everyone here at Wikid.
Nice.
I
That's cool.
went through and I just was like, I want to show I love this one still, but I kind of want to um I want to like yeah, make it look fancier. So,
And so is this a quote is it a quote from the manga then?
yes. Yeah, that's kind of just like so in something in the Sweven that I always done was I created a page 0.
Mm.
And this is page 0
Okay, so
for
it'll have each one will have a quote on it.
yeah, like this isn't going to be like an official one yet. This was just, me practicing. But I'm going to keep these. Like I might put them in the novel. I don't know yet. We'll see.
I don't know. I
Maybe.
think it's a cool idea. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this one
And
came out really interesting too, and really really cool. Like your art style, I think really comes through really strong on this one.
yeah, and you could like if you look at the older version, I'm like when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, this definitely needs updated to
Huh.
the darker tones and stuff. And that's
Ah,
kind
okay.
of what I'm going for.
Mm-hmm.
Is very dream focused, as you see.
So is this going to be like a psychological manga anyway?
Um, I wouldn't say psychological, kinda. I'm more like
It's like a something. That's psychedelic. No, that's not the right
I
term.
it's just
That's
Dream.
very spiritual. If I could describe it anyway, not a religious Christian spiritual. It's just
mm, mm,
where,
spiritual.
yeah.
interesting.
Very
I like that.
spiritual.
I like that. That's cool.
The more esoteric.
Yeah, it kind of touches some of the underlining themes. A lot of heavily influences for the plot of my graphic novel were inspired from like third eye chakras, stuff like that. The higher subconscious, true, raw, like subconscious. I can't explain it any other way.
No, it makes sense. I see where you're going with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Definitely.
where the dream stuff comes in, right?
Yes, exactly. My two main characters are heavily inspired with twin flame aesthetic too.
So is it? Would you say this is a love story?
It has love. It has many different versions of love. Would I say that it's like 100% romance focused? I mean, it definitely has heavy points where it is, but I also feel like it displays a lot of different types of love for sure. And it's very, very it has moments where it's gonna pull on the heartstrings for sure.
Are
Yeah.
you gonna make people cry?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Oh
That
man.
is the goal for sure
Oh,
to
that's
make
fun.
people cry. And I connected all of these dreams.
So yeah, that's why, like you said, dreams are very important to the story.
Yes, very.
Okay.
hmm
And so then in that case, what can you tell us? Is there anything you can tease about the first issue that you're working on right now?
So the first one is going to be a revamp of the original first chapter, our pilot, which by the way, I have pulled up um our first ever I'll screenshot this to you, Mike, so you can share it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But our first attempt at the pilot really sat well um on INKR when we first went. So that's kind of why I want to keep that up.
And so
Um
will it be within the same, housed within the same series on that website?
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
it's all going to be under the same. We're just going to adjust, obviously some things, but we're our reads are at 57K.
Wow.
The subscriptions are 848, which I think is really awesome. So, all of our subscriptions will be notified that we are revamping here on Monday, um, which is really exciting. But we want to keep that up. So, something to know about our first production is it's going to be similar in some ways to what is already posted, but it's also going to be a lot different at the same time.
Really?
Yeah, very different. Because one of the biggest things that we're looking forward to, I know Kaz and I are, is being able to space scenes and make it very friendly, or how to say this, very visual friendly. Because, and again, this is, no shade at any old artists like that we worked with. But we were always on a budget. So we couldn't space our scenes the way we wanted to.
Wow.
So
Okay.
one of the things we're looking forward to is being able to have a page count, but know that that page count is because that's the page count,
Right.
not
The
because
only thing you have to do is put in more hard work. You don't have to put in more money. Uh,
exactly.
so
I
you're
mean,
doing it yourself. You're putting in the work and time, and that's something that
exactly.
you can put together. So that, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from there. Yeah.
It's going to be a lot more visual friendly to read, and not that like I said, I'm still very proud of that pilot. It's a tribute to what how we used to do things, and I want to remember that because we wouldn't be here now had it not been for that. So,
But it'll be a retelling in a way as well.
yeah, because a lot of the story hasn't changed. The story itself isn't changing. It's the art style. So it's going to be my approach
Okay, I
at the
see. So
pilot.
you might
Hmm.
see some different pacing and scenes might breathe a little bit different and stuff, but you're still gonna get to a similar spot at the end of the first issue. Yeah, obviously,
Yeah,
going forward, everything will be different once you get beyond where the pilot was able to tell. But
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
it's almost
Like
like the
you
Full
could,
Metal Alchemist thing, right? You know, the first few
yeah,
episodes are the same, but the rest of it's gonna be different.
definitely getting like a Full Metal Alchemist
Yeah,
treatment. It
yeah,
100% is.
yeah. This is the
And
Brotherhood version
yes,
of Sweven.
exactly, exactly. And or you
Yeah,
could look at it as like the first chapter being sort of like
prototype, right?
a prototype, an
Hmm.
example, a direction that it's here, it's always been here, and we here it is. We've taken the time to bring it forward still.
Well, that's really excellent. I think that's gonna be really cool. I think it'll be nice to see putting the new once it's finished, putting that issue up on INKR and getting to see those readers check it out.
Uh-huh. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm really, really thrilled.
I think there was a question in the chat earlier.
Oh.
Nicholas was asking, what are ways does anybody solve their art slash idea block? You guys have any methods that you like to use to get rid of get past writer's block, art block, that kind of thing?
So what I do is I read manga similar to Sweven that get me inspired.
Mm,
And
mhm,
that's kind of where my pacing thing comes in with the art. Um, I just feel like there's like this flow. And when you have like that creative control, like, a lot of artists in Japan, they they typically always illustrate their own pretty much all the
mm.
time.
Wow.
Um, I've seen teams, of course, like Death Note was written by two different people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I bet a lot of people don't know that.
yeah, but like I feel like they were friends, so they had that friendship where it wasn't like a business transaction for them, because
Kinda
they
like me and
wrote.
Matt on our manga, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Me and
yeah, that's
Kaz,
all.
like.
Very much sounds like it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like something that I always do to get myself out of block is and when I fell in my second production, I had a lot of block. And I would just sit there and read manga, like, after manga after manga, like, anytime I felt like it, just to kinda get inspiration and stuff like that. And now when I read manga, I'm just like, "Oh my god, I wanna draw all of this." Now I wanna draw all of this, except hands. I don't wanna draw hands.
Oh, yeah, still, give me I've heard hands are, like, the most difficult thing for an artist to
For most people, hands or feet. That's
Oh.
usually how it goes. Um, for me, that's usually what I do. If I have artist block, I'll just either find something that influences me or just
Mm,
something to study. So that this way, in a way, it's me not creating, but it's me practicing or finding something that I can use as an interpretation of something. Like
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of history and myths, so a lot of times I like to make renditions of mythological gods. So
Nice.
that's one way for me.
like almost like a, exercise, right?
In a
Or
sense, yeah, but it for me it just has no point besides exercise or just
practice.
practice or just sketching. In a sense, it's something to help get past that point of what do I draw?
Okay, yeah, I could see that. And Kazuto, do you have anything like that or what's your go-to?
I mean, I pretty much do the same thing, but
Yeah.
I also look back at the work that I used to do.
Mm.
Both the work that
Okay.
I'm not proud of and the work I especially get addicted to. Well, it's more rare of the latter and more of the wait. God damn it! I mixed it up now. Okay, it's more of I look at my the work that I really loved and get inspired by
Mm.
how it made me felt. And at rare occasions, I would look at the work that I was least satisfied with, and I would usually go, "Holy shit, that sucks! I could do a lot better."
Yeah, that's interesting. Use both as inspiration, right? In
Yeah,
different ways.
and
That's
sometimes
very
I would get
understandable. Being able to look at yourself and learn from your old mistakes, in a
True.
yeah,
sense.
yeah, and it's usually just I don't know. It's just usually that kind of fuel where I always like to get that adrenaline rush somehow, right? Whenever whenever I write something, I want to write something that keeps me going until I no longer literally can write. Um, or edit at the least. And that's just one of the ways that I do. And most of the other times, it's really looking at my inspirations as well. If I'm writing something actiony and I have really either hit a brick wall or something doesn't feel right, I go to some of my inspirations with like action movies or manga sequences that really or anime sequences as well. Some panels in manga that are just really well written and crafted in terms of action that get me going. If it's something like drama or romance, I usually turn to some material for that in almost any form that I can find it. And it's really just I hit a desperation switch of what's gonna get me rolling with this, and usually immediately go do that thing. Or I do the fourth option, which I do at least 60% of the time, and Nana knows this from experience, is that I jump into a video game and I shoot people in the face in a video game.
Hey, that always works for me.
Nana knows that from experience. I sit here on the couch sometimes
Oh, that's funny.
and I edit, I play a game and talk to her at the same
Oh
time.
my god.
If I get stuck, I get like consumed by either the game or talking to her or all three things, and sometimes I wouldn't speak for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh my
So I would be like,
god.
I freaking got it now. so that's what I usually end up doing,
Oh,
and for
that's
the most
hilarious.
part, your inspirations do kind of get you out of that jam, because let's say if you're writing action, or if I'm writing action, my one of my usual go-tos is Die Hard, the movie Die Hard,
Ah, nice.
because I really love just how well written it is. And I just go back to certain sequences that I loved to get me into that mood. And one of them is when John McClane ends up crawling under the table, under this long table, kind of
Mm.
dodging bullets from the terrorists, walking on top of the table, just taunting him, reaches the end. And then next time you get the chance to kill somebody, don't hesitate. Bam, 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 bam. And it's just that kind of writing that just gets me. Oh, we lost her. We
I
lost
think she's
the
having
signal.
some mic issues, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Oh, there she is.
Sorry, I was having
Your picture's gone.
I
Oh
know, I was having
Oh
mic
yeah.
issues big time. Oh
my
my
gosh.
gosh.
How's it
Yeah.
going now? Is it all right now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm good. I only was on my iPad because of other reasons, but this is
Right, we were
fine.
gonna try and share your drawing, but unfortunately we
Yeah.
couldn't get that to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna send you over actually just some other illustrations
Okay,
from Sweven 2
that'd be awesome.
that I have.
Do you have a YouTube channel of your own?
No, I do have a
Okay.
TikTok.
Have you ever
I'm
posted some drawing stuff on there?
on TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
that's cool.
I just took a chance. Like, I'm still trying to find ways to get my art out there. But I feel like just kind of posting it there on INKR is a big help because people that have subscribed are notified.
Mm. Yeah, that is. I think and that's where that's where they'll read it too. So that's ultimately where you want to draw people into.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is a big one, and it's a really cool deal that you're able to get set up there, and I think that'll be really nice to see you branching out into a new platform like that. And so yeah, I'm really hopeful to see how the new issue turns out there.
Yeah, the landscape that I sent you is a work in progress.
Okay,
I
let's take a look here.
it is a work in progress. I still have it actually is kind of like something I'm like I might just leave it the way it is, just only because it was before my art style developed. And I feel like I would do it a lot different
Oh,
now.
really?
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you.
It almost feels like it could fit in with Star Ring too.
Yeah, I'm all for like the nature.
Yeah. Okay.
I love and Sweven
Nature
is
stuff is really cool.
obviously very nature based too. Like
Okay.
I love the nature.
So where does Sweven take place then? What kind of a setting is it?
So one of our protagonists, their dreams, I will say this, their dreams take place in a forest. Essentially, a very mountainous forest.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. So this
Yeah.
is the dream setting.
Yes, this is an example of what it's going to look like in the graphic novel. But again, this was also way before my style. I was
Wasn't,
still
correct me if I'm wrong, was Sweven originally a spin-off of Star Ring before it became its own thing?
yeah, like I kind of like indirectly am saying that one of the protagonists in Sweven is actually in dreaming within the world of
Mm.
starring, but they're not connected
Not connected
in
in
that
that
way.
way. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
just like the nature, which I love it. The nature is more kind of like or is it like an Easter egg, a tribute, something like that?
Yeah, Easter egg.
Yeah.
Like what's kind of sprang from one thing has now become its own thing. And
Yes.
it may be inspired by it, but it's not directly connected.
No, they are not like in the
Yeah.
same
Okay.
universe or anything like that.
Just the same world, different
Same
universe,
aesthetic.
who like same setting, different thing, kind of in a
There's going to
sense.
be
Or
similarities because they're done by me, both done by me.
Mhm.
So
of
like,
course, of
yeah,
course,
there's like a
it's
certain
kind of like doing two different renditions of New York City.
yes, exactly.
Mhm.
And I just like I love like I feel like I put this in all of my comics just because like I just love nature.
Yeah, Nicholas says that he really likes the water.
Oh, thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, I think this piece came out nice. It'll be fun to see because the non-dreaming world. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that going to be more of like a cityscape? Are we going to see more
Oh yeah,
of a modern day?
the entire comic takes place in Seattle.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that'll be really cool to see the contrast between those two parts of the comic.
And actually I one way somehow I am going to Seattle.
Oh wow!
I and I'm going to take pictures
Go
of
to the Space
Seattle.
Needle if you do.
Like I'm gonna take
You gotta
pictures of
go to the Space
Seattle
Needle.
because I'm sure Matt can tell you that a lot of digital artists that do graphic novels do use real photos
Oh yeah.
within their art, and I feel like gosh that would just be amazing to go to Seattle and take the photos and put them in the graphic novel and just like really get a feel of what it's like to be there.
That'd be
Because
cool, yeah.
I can write better again with my visual experience. And a lot of Sweven has a lot of like real life events.
Huh.
Just altered in a fictional way.
It's just one. I think though, what's going to be the fun challenge is that since it takes place in the 90s. 90s
Oh.
Seattle is very different from modern day Seattle.
Wow.
And I think harkening back to that era, it feels good in an essence. You know, it doesn't not a lost era by any means. Like a lot of people would really say like, I want to experience that again. You know, early 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, the aesthetic. It's going to be a challenge because going to modern day Seattle, while most of it is the same in one way, it's not really the same in another way. And some places in Seattle right now looked very different 30 years ago.
True, it may require some additional research, I suppose.
Yeah,
as well.
And you know that will be the fun challenge because me and Nana, we love that. We love that. We love that era, that nostalgia.
Yeah, well, I was born in the 90s, so I can understand that.
Same here. I mean, for me, I can understand a lot of that nostalgia stuff, but I don't know. Like once when it got to the 2000s, I liked it a lot more. You know, like I didn't really, probably because I was young and everything. I was like growing up by the time it was the year 2000. Y2K, man. I remember everybody freaking about that, but I was 10. You know, so for me, I don't really have probably the nostalgia for the 90s you could say my brother had or other
See, I
people
was
had.
younger than you, and I saw that nostalgia in them.
I don't know, man. For me, I have more nostalgia for the early 2000s.
I guess it was the jeans and the Limp Biscuit.
Well, for me, it's. I think it's more of like the real internet age came to being. You know, like a lot more. You could say forums and a lot more interactive.
You know what I think it is for me though,
really
man, is that the 90s for me feels like it has so much more of an identity than the 2000s, right? The 2000s is where everything starts to kind of amalgamate and become the same. Whereas like the 90s still feels so.
For me, the early 2000s felt like everybody just because like the whole thing with the Iraq war going on, everybody was just like, nah, man, I want to be anonymous, and Y2K scaring everybody. Like all this stuff happening within like just a short range of time. People were just like, nah, I don't care about you. So like for me, that was probably the identity of the early 2000s was more of the secretiveness of what was going on and how people really felt. But I could see that, and I think that's why I can understand the whole nostalgia for the 90s because it was, you could say, a brighter time.
So just Nana and I just working on it. It really just hit a chord, and we really want to capture that when it comes to that aspect of making it feel as authentic as possible to that time period and to that setting. And taking the pictures of Seattle today, they make for like a great like starting point. And some places haven't changed since the 90s in Seattle, but then when the places that were there that aren't there anymore, or just the overall feel and aesthetic, that's going to be just a really fun challenge. And we love a good challenge, don't we, Nana?
Yes.
we love a good fucking challenge.
I like that about you guys.
just the thought of it is it just makes me really excited. Because I don't think, thinking back, I don't think I've done so much writing with a focus on that era. It shouldn't be that much different, but it kind of feels like going back to that time in an essence, you know, and just sort of digging down deep and just letting that bleed through to the writing somehow.
Yeah, I just was about to say, I have to say this while it's on my mind, because something that I really love to do, I can't do now in writing. And I love to like connect my characters in ways that they don't know how. They just cross paths at one point where like today you can't cross paths with someone without them showing up on a stupid algorithm somehow. Like everyone's networked together, which has made everything really amazing. But I also just miss something about a time period where no one couldn't find you. And it like I like to connect my characters serendipitously like that. And I don't feel like I can make those connections in a setting, in a story that's set right now because of technology.
Okay, yeah, the 90s
I
is kind of a
actually,
unique time for that, isn't it?
yeah, like I actually was like Googling when I started writing Sweven. I was like Googling if texting existed.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I was like Googling to see if like and it did exist. So
I
there
didn't.
is
Let's
some
see.
texting.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was like
I didn't get my.
95 it started or something like
You know,
I
that.
didn't
oh
get
Nana, I'm gonna ask you to page me every time you need me to. I'm just gonna buy a pager especially just for
Yeah,
this.
pagers were still being used.
Oh
Yeah.
my god,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna buy
That's an
now.
obsolete
Some of the
technology right
characters
there.
may or may not have a pager.
All right, I'm
Okay, they
buying
definitely have a pager.
I'm definitely buying it now.
Mm.
You're gonna have to page my ass, Nana, if you want me to get to me.
Get your Sweven branded pager.
There you go. Actually, that's a Nana, you
That's
know.
a good
Look at
little
that.
like
Merchandise.
idea.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
You want to feel
Like
old?
I know in the pilot, oh Mike, I don't know, I sent you over
Oh yeah,
some
yeah.
photos
Let me
of
pull up some. Yeah, definitely.
some photos of our main female protagonist, and in the pilot she's actually reading on a flip phone.
Really.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. She is. I still want to I have a couple of other art pieces in mind. Kind of like I want to put together just like to showcase like what it's going to be as like its own thing.
Okay, so this is it says dreams and reality at the top.
Yes.
That's cool. Big
And
theme, as we mentioned before.
huh?
Oh, it was dreams and reality. The big like it's a huge theme within the comic, as I believe you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so there's usually if the characters are in reality and then we see them in their dreams. So I
So,
kept like the theme like dreams, reality,
mm,
dreams, reality. Then like the
mhm.
quote even has dreams and reality. Sometimes the characters even say like those two words a lot. Like it's a very definitely repeated words throughout that whole thing.
And so this is the main character, is that right?
Yes.
And
Yes, she
what's her
is.
name?
Her name is Millie Miller.
Oh, that's a fun name.
I know that sounds generic. I know that sounds generic, but it's for a reason.
It's Miller. No, it's
No,
not.
that's perfectly fine.
It's an
Honestly,
alliteration,
that sounds a little 90s as well. So
It's
Yeah.
it's Miller
Yeah.
time.
And Kaz will tell you that I have a reason for everything.
He does, even for the most
Wow,
minute thing that there is. There's
Yeah,
probably a
there's a reason.
that's amazing.
I think I even sent you like a little doodle of Millie. I this is a
Oh
very
yeah,
old
yeah.
this is a very old doodle of Millie, but I think it's so cute. And it was definitely when I started it was anatomy practice. Why?
That's how she puts it.
Yeah, I
That's
love
how
this
she's putting it. I
doodle.
know what she's talking about.
I see. I see. There's many forms of anatomy.
Of course you'd say.
I know what she's talking about now.
Everybody loves a character like Millie. She is very cute. Um Very cute character. In every art style she's been in too. Like she's just always been a very cute character. Yeah, she's always been just very kawaii.
That was you? I thought that was somebody
How
else.
long ago did you do this piece? If you
The
don't mind me.
doodle, my little
Yeah.
doodle. I did that probably about a year ago.
Well, that's still pretty good for what you've done. Did you do like model reference or
Um,
picture
I
reference?
I actually use 3D models
Mm,
quite frequently as reference.
I can understand that. I've tried doing it. That's a little bit of a curve within itself as well, especially depending on what medium of 3D model you're using. For me, I typically use either on the phone or on my computer.
I just stick well within the program. Usually I can rig my own model or I will use just, it could go as simple as using the inputted 3D models within the program itself, or I just go on Google, I search it and I draw it. Um which gets a lot easier. I just put it next to me and I just use it as eye reference.
I could really see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
that's an interesting way to do it. And you know what?
The outfit that she's wearing actually was was the picture what was in front of me at the time was my favorite singer and she was in that outfit and I just thought it was super cute. So I threw it on Millie. I was like, "Oh, it's so cute."
Oh yes, that was a good choice.
Yeah, that was done. That was done all. I do all of my art pieces in grayscale. I don't really mess around too much with the monochrome. I find it incredibly difficult to be honest. And I've heard people like say to me, they're like, "You find that challenging?" Like I find grayscale challenging, but I feel like it's just a preference. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people do the monochrome for traditional manga feel, and it looks better on print.
Oh, is that why
I
manga does
personally
that?
feel that's the main reason is it's probably better when you scan because that's just my experience doing grayscale because I like it as well. I usually mix the both if, for certain pieces that I used to do back in the past when I was more traditional than more of a hybrid of both.
Yeah, like there is definitely nothing. I am not a, like I said earlier in the beginning of the podcast. It's like I am definitely not a traditional artist by any means. I have only done this digitally ever. And a lot of people think I'm like crazy, but there's a lot of like helpful tools digitally that um starting off traditionally is would definitely be a lot longer of a learning experience, which rewarding, of course. Um but I definitely feel like for what I'm going into this with, I'm doing this for a graphic novel, like a story. And I'm going into it with a more of a narrative approach, I guess you would say.
And so the art has to serve that story and that narrative.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's really awesome. Yeah, so how long have you been doing art then total now?
So far now it has been since I want to say March of 2021.
Wow.
No, I'm wrong. March of 2020.
Okay.
March of 2020.
So about almost 3 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I think I've been heavily
Pretty
only
amazing.
drawing like Sweven characters now for a year and a half.
Okay. Manga work will begin, and so what's the plan? How?
Oh, I think you're having some microphone issues.
What's that?
I can hear you now. Never mind.
Was that cutting in and out there?
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Oh, sorry to hear that, guys. Maybe that's why I was trying to cut in on, or had made a few comments, but I wasn't sure if they were getting through there or not. But hopefully I'm coming through better now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. Okay. Sorry about that. But yes. So do you have any plans on how long the first issue will be?
So I'm thinking I'm gonna try to go for 30 to 40 pages every episode. It's separated by seasons, or if you would call them arcs. Um, I don't know how many seasons there's gonna be. But I do know that it's probably gonna take me about 6 months to
To do an
complete
issue.
to
Okay.
do each episode, yeah.
And
With
then
month breaks in between.
and so are you also going to be doing the lettering then?
No. That is actually something that I'm gonna actually look into. Because I want it to look as nice as possible. And
Okay.
I'm intimidated. I'm intimidated to do lettering myself because that's, an artistic thing too.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a good idea. I always think hiring a letterer is a smart move. Like you said, it just adds to the professional look of everything, and it's like you said, that's someone who's dedicated their artistic craft to that talent. So yeah, it can, unless you're
Exactly.
gonna put the time in to do it yourself, then that may be, and honestly, it is so time consuming. You'd be, that'd be time, probably time better spent on your own art. I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And there's still some things that I'm gonna get outside, like outside help with. One of them is coloring.
oh, okay,
And which we're
interesting.
actually funny enough, I just spoke with her. We're gonna have our old artist, the
Do
one
the
that did our
coloring.
pilot, color the cover.
Nice.
Yeah, because I love the original cover, and I kind of want it to look like that, but in my art style.
Well, that'll be a fun collaboration.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting.
Huh.
So, yeah.
And then the manga, as you said, is black and white though. That in the interior.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I might, like, if I do one day wanna like learn to color, which I probably really should. I might do like our dream scenes in color one day.
That'd be
Um,
really cool. Yeah.
maybe for like the last episode, that way that I know that I have
Or
time, but
maybe
that's not set in stone.
maybe
So.
maybe even you could also, I've seen manga sometimes do like colorized editions once the series is finished or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that could work too. So plenty of options there.
Yeah, like I'm just really excited too. We start on Monday
Wow.
morning. Starting on Monday morning.
Early, bright and early.
Yeah. And I think Kaz and I, this is gonna be definitely a change for him and I, because him and I used to
Mm.
only work at the very late hours of the night. Like,
That's interesting change, isn't it?
yeah, this is gonna be, I really feel like
So
this is
who was that? Whose decision was that to switch? Was it yours
it's
or
kind of
Cause's?
mutual. It
Okay.
was mutual. Because him and I, a lot has also changed in our personal lives, so
Mm,
we have to
adapt.
adapt to each other, and that's the time frames that we have.
Yeah,
now.
sometimes that's how you got to do it, you know.
But our editing styles will never change. Like they'll still remain the same. Cause him and I, like, we're just kind of like at this point, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Nice.
Yeah.
A hard-headed son of a bitch anyway, so adapting to major change like that, like, you forget about it.
I'd love to come, like, come back on again when, we're ready to release too.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Because we'll have a lot more art to show instead of just like sneak peeks,
Yeah, I imagine you'll be previewing the manga as you work on it throughout.
Oh yeah. We definitely have a very we sat down last week actually. And we did our production plan, and I sent over Kaz like my notes in the past year and a half. And I'm like, please don't edit my brain dumps. At the top of the page, I literally put brain dumps.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, and it was so bad.
Needed to be edited in the brain dump.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a
That's the problem with being the person that whatever they shove in your face, please take a look through. Because even if they don't tell you to do that and they just tell you to just read it, you do it anyway. Because you're programmed to literally, okay, whatever I put in front of you, you edit, okay? Which generally my answer is yes. And it comes with the drawback of instantaneously doing it when nobody has told you to do it, or when somebody else told you not to do it, you still end up doing it. So
it's a second nature.
it's my third nature, actually. You know.
Yeah. And the other funny thing is Kaz is actually coming here to my house in March. And
wow.
Yeah, and here I go on like my iCalendar and I put in like what I'm doing for these two, because we go in like 2-week intervals with things. And like what I'm doing, what am I doing on this week? Well, I go to the week that he's coming here and I'm putting down that we're working. And I'm like, wait a minute, we gotta take these couple days off.
Next thing you know, she's gonna get right back to work. Just literally.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a working holiday.
Yeah. Holiday said not to work.
So really, will this be the first time that you have met up then, or?
Oh no.
Second time.
Second. Okay, nice. That's cool. That'll be fun then, I imagine.
Yep. First time she almost made me work. Almost.
So close.
Dang. Almost.
Oh man.
I got away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
You definitely dodged a bullet there, it sounds like.
I dodged bullets.
My favorite thing about, I'm like sitting here looking at it and I'm just like, my favorite thing about the like drawing any character is hair.
Really? What was it about hair?
I have a digital pen that I stumbled upon on the asset store on Clip Studio. And I'm like, oh my god, like this is like the perfect hair pen ever.
Oh my god.
It is the perfect hair pen.
Oh wow, that's cool. I love how you can. Digital art is so interesting in that way with the way they have these tools and.
Oh my god, there is if you can name it, there's a tool or a brush for it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of people get intimidated by using those assets, but they're there for a purpose.
They're literally there to help you.
Yes. And it's like when I went to when I did the recent illustration that I sent to you guys, the one with the quote. I don't know if you want to pull that up real quick.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But I can show you. The hair. I just love doing black hair. Like, I really love that, and all my characters, both the only two in the entire cast that have black hair are the main characters, but that is a digital pen there.
Let's see if I can zoom in. I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
It's not working.
So the backstory to this digital pen is that it was removed off the App Store, or I'm sorry, off
You're kidding me.
the Clips. Yeah, it was removed off Clip Studio.
Uh-oh.
And luckily, I saved it. Luckily.
So even though it was removed, you were able to still utilize it.
Yes.
Okay, that's nice at least. Yeah. So let's check out the hair here.
Yeah, like, I just love that. I love that pen. Like, I use it pretty much in every illustration.
Yeah, it comes
that
out
I
really
do.
nice, doesn't it?
It really does.
That's you call it the hairpin.
Yeah, that's my hairpin. Like, a lot of people would be like, "Oh, like, like, I use it. I don't even use it as the G pen. I have a G pen that I do for everything else, and then the hair is its own thing. And the annoyance of drawing on the wrong layer.
How many layers do you end up with at the end?
Oh my god. I couldn't even tell you. Hundreds. Hundreds of layers. Like, and it's gonna be even worse when we start the graphic novel.
Geez, so many layers.
Yeah. But luckily, digital art programs like Clip Studio, Procreate, stuff like that, they have a lot of in-program tools that set up the novel basically for you. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Within the art program, they have like a graphic novel section.
Oh wow.
And you can start setting it up. And I know one thing that I'm excited about learning is the pop out panels.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you started playing around with any kind of paneling yet?
Yeah, a little bit. This is where my learning, the next challenge, in my art journey is gonna be.
Yeah, that'll be a fun challenge, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, the panel stuff is always interesting to see how artists place panels, so you'll finally get a first-hand experience on how to do that yourself.
And that's kind of why I read a lot of manga prior,
Okay.
because like I can kind of get a sense of how I want things to look within my own, and sort of get into that flow of a manga, like how it reads and the scenery, and like how you don't always have to show the character. You can show the surroundings, things that are meant to be seen and stuff like that for story. So
That's really smart. Yeah, getting inspiration from other manga.
yeah, pretty much about a week before I actually start scripting, I all I do is read manga for like a week.
Do you have any favorites that you go to?
So my last because I only read manga when I'm producing one.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually don't read manga outside of it.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, I don't.
Probably because you're too busy creating.
Yes, I feel like it's that, but I also feel like it just, I don't know. I don't know. I just always associated it with inspiration now that, I mean, I still am a fan, of course. Like, I love anime. So, but some of my favorites that I read was Blood on the Tracks.
Huh, I'm not sure I'm familiar with that one.
That manga, I mean, it is not even my genre. It's a psychological horror.
Oh wow.
But the way that the artist sets up these scenes and panels is wow.
Huh, really?
Yeah, like if he were to like do a movie or something, this guy would be brilliant. He could totally do it. Just the way
Wow.
he draws these scenes, it's like insane.
That sounds amazing.
Attack on Titan, I love for story inspiration, but just because it's written so well. Pretty
That's a
much
great one.
anything.
I love me some Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Looking forward to the final season coming out this year. Final season.
I know, the final. I feel like they've been saying that like forever.
Yeah. They're just dragging it out. I don't think they want it to end ever.
I can't say
Yeah, it's probably their version of Kingdom Hearts.
I don't want it to ever end. I love it.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah.
I love Eren Yeager.
Yeah, he's a great character. I really have enjoyed his arc throughout the series.
Oh yeah.
Are there any big inspirations? I think you may have mentioned it before, but directly, are there any kind of story-wise, any kind of inspirations that you take forward with Sweven?
Nana, of course, is
Mm.
one of the. Oh, and that reminded me of why I wanted to say I was happy that Sweven is pronounced Sweven because Nana is actually 7. So it's like in Japanese. So it's like it's 7 with a W.
Whoa. That's a cool
It's
connection,
7
yeah.
with a W, yeah.
That's fun, yeah. Lucky number Sweven.
Lucky number Sweven.
Ew.
Aw. Oh man, yeah, that's interesting. I do like that. And of course, for those who don't know, that's a shoujo series, correct, Nana?
Yeah, it's like a definitely more of an adult shoujo.
Okay. What's the what is the adult? Don't they have I think they have a term for that maybe, but I always forget. Someone.
Josei.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
But I know
I
there's
was
something.
actually just telling my boyfriend about
Oh, really?
the
Okay.
differences the other day.
Yeah, if somebody who's not familiar with that kind of stuff, it might seem like confusing or what's the difference, right? But there is a big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, there is. Like
Mhm.
shonen, like I can't seem to watch get into a lot of shonen, but one
Yeah.
of my favorite shonen is One Punch Man.
Yeah, that one is fun.
I just love that series. It's so
That's
good.
a unique kind of shonen, I think. Yeah.
But I would say like one of the greatest forms of storytelling that has been always so amazing and intriguing to me is future person narrative.
How
And that
so?
is actually my approach in Sweven.
Can you just describe that a little bit for us?
So to me, what I see as future person narrative is the characters speaking on the events being shown from the future.
Okay, looking back into the past.
Yes. And
Mm.
usually I only like to use this, and Nana does this as well. I usually only like to do this if there's like a big event within the plot. Like I feel like in starring this wouldn't really work. Um but in Sweven, because of the events that unfold within the plot, I really, really like to show what the character was like and now what the character is like. You kind of watch, you have the character tell you about their own development.
Getting to see how they get to where they are now as the
Yes.
narrator.
Yes, they tell you. Cuz
Mhm.
that's the way that it always should be. The character, especially in a character driven story, no matter what medium it's in, a movie, show, whatever, a comic, graphic novel. Well, they're both the same, but you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
It really doesn't. It always should be them telling the story for me.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I feel like that future person narrative approach really brings that to life.
It makes the character's story front and center in what's being shown and told to the reader in some way.
Yes.
Speaking on that, it reminded me, the approach really reminded me of how noir, noir medium, the noir medium,
Ah, yeah, I see what you mean.
uh,
Yeah.
especially in certain from certain things like the Max Payne games or classic
Mm,
noir films. When you present a story like that, it especially when something is very character strong and character focused and narrative driven, it just it delivers some sort of depth
mm,
executed correctly, that it's almost as if you're experiencing the recounted events as that person, even if you're just supposedly along for the ride. When they look back on certain events or look back in the entire story, the language that they convey and the emotions, even from the future tense, you can feel it
mm,
support
mm,
the past events as they're unfolding. And especially the reason why I brought up Max Payne is because that kind of a medium translated, the noir kind of storytelling to any medium, when done right, it can really become very deep in emotion and storytelling. Anything could happen as long as the character is conveying that emotion deeply with word choice and conveying the emotion of that moment. You you aren't just simply, watching it unfold or reading it or listening to it. You're experiencing it completely. You are
mm,
experiencing
mhm.
that same depth of emotion. Like, if it's an angry scene and the character really describes how it like boils their blood inside, and you know just the feeling of how angry that person is, you start to feel that way too,
It
because
brings you into the character's point
yeah,
of view.
it does it in a way that rarely another medium does of storytelling. So, Sweven doing it this way, editing for it really does deliver another dimension of depth to the emotion and the immersion of the story. And that tickles my fancy very, very,
Mhm.
because it's very difficult to do that and execute it properly. And I think Nana has done, especially with that kind of storytelling with the future tense. It really does shine through. The emotion does like shine through 10 times more than it would if you did it in any other tense or in any other form when presenting the story. But doing it this way, how she did it before and how she's going to do it now, it's really, you feel like the emotion completely. You will feel this way or that way. You will see things this way or that way. Not only because the narrator says that they did, but because you'll feel it. You'll
Yeah.
Mm.
experience the exact same thing. You
And it
will,
all goes back to scenes and pace as well, too.
yeah. So it's just combining that with Nana's, setting and story and focuses, especially. It just it's just on another different level when it's executed correctly, and Nana has done it. And I think, now, especially with her own art, I think that's going to convey even more
Oh
now.
my god, yeah. It's gonna be so much more personal.
Yeah, it is really immensely personal, which is why it's almost addicting when it
Mhm.
right, because when it becomes personal, it just feels like all bets are off. Like when it's not business and when it's personal, it just feels like anything goes. Any
Mhm.
And
emotion.
I'll tell you, writing Sweven has been a very like personal and spiritual experience. A lot of the ideas that I have come up with were naturally. I felt like I never had to force anything. Everything that I was writing, I didn't have to force for answers. They just came to me as I'm writing it, or like as I'm thinking about it. If something came to me, it just fit very well. Um, and one of the themes that we continuously use is rain. We continuously use rain because it's always raining in Seattle.
True.
And like even in the dreams, like it's raining there too. It's raining everywhere.
And rain, like nature, conveys a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
And rain can be used for a lot of different things and a lot of different, and such as like if it's used in like a horror film, it's mainly used as a sense of fogging up something beyond the darkness. When in horror movies, if it's dark, it's either raining or foggy, because rain does sometimes conceal what's behind the many swaths of raindrops. You can't really see that well if it's raining hard, or it conveys some sense of coldness because rain can be cold if you stand out there. Or in a different setting, rain can be conveyed as a sort of sadness, paired with a dark, dim lit atmosphere. It can be used for a lot of different things. And, using Seattle's like really perpetual habit of raining all the time
Uh-huh.
really can convey a lot of emotion to certain scenes, and can be used in different ways. So it's not like a one trick pony. It's a dog that can do many tricks that for all intents and purposes be new every time that you see it. And
That's fun. Yeah, I like that idea because it can mean so many different things. It can represent so many different things.
exactly. And
Yeah.
it just knowing all of that and knowing what lies ahead, it just really does, excite me, just how Nana's gonna tie everything together and just use all these different elements to convey a really personal and emotional story that, I for one, I definitely just can't wait to sit down and dedicate countless hours to it.
and I
Mhm.
to kind of put it, to tie up loose ends here. I think this is a great way to describe it. It is very personal. A lot of it comes from a lot of it is from personal experience. And it really kind of helps me cope in a lot of ways too, because there are a lot of things in moments, you wish you could have said something. Well, when you're a writer, you can say them finally.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, so
That's really cool.
a lot
Yeah.
of that was going in there with that in mind. And all
Mm.
silliness aside, I just love tying these elements together. Like, I love Seattle, I love nature, I love moons, I love flowers, and there you have the story.
Well, that really is really cool. I love the all the elements combining together. I think it's going to be such a unique story that only you really could tell. So I think that's something to look forward to.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. And I hope that we could come back on in a few months mid production and show you guys
That'd be
kind of
cool.
what we're working on.
Yeah, that'd be pretty amazing. We'd definitely be happy to have you guys back on and talk some more about all the project and what you've been doing in the meantime.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys both. I appreciate you taking time to share your art and your journey with us. And where can people file or excuse me, where can people find you online to make sure they can check out all your stuff?
Um well, right now I am just active on Twitter, Nana to Venus, or on Instagram, which is Nana Hoshiko Art, spelled as it is. So That's why I've
Perfect.
been posting art updates, but they are very, very slow. Okay, I'm trying.
But worth it.
But
Definitely
worth it, yes.
it.
All I think about is art. Even if I'm not posting about it, is all I think about all day.
Wow, it's so amazing to see your transformation. Like you really embraced this journey fully.
Yes, I went all in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's amazing. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Kazuto, where can people find you online?
All right, yeah. So you can find me on the FBI's most wanted list. I'm in 5 different states for arson and a bunch of different things I didn't do. No,
We
I'm
won't
kidding.
report you. We promise.
So on Twitter, you can find me Kazuto at Kazuto Manga, and because I'm very unoriginal, you can also find me on Instagram as Kazuto Manga.
Hey, that works for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for for joining us again. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we will be talking to you all very soon about your manga again. And thanks for everyone who joined us in the chat. It was really fun to talk to you all, and we will see you on a future episode of something, a future live stream. Take care, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night.
All right, have
Thank
a good one.
you.
Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
guys.